I think about, I don't know, last year sometime, Rob and Joanne said, what would you like to talk about? And I thought, well, what do I know about? So rather than picking a subject that I thought I know really well, like cancer, or MS, or I thought, why not pick viruses? And then I thought, well, I'll go away on holiday, and I'll really stress myself out, and rather than taking a holiday, I went into, and I didn't do anything about viruses. And then I bought every single book about viruses known to mankind, and for the last 8 months, I have been reading all these books. And today I decided not to speak about them. Because I want you guys to be curious. Now, in Meta Health, there's always been, it's like viruses are swept under the carpet. Don't talk about viruses. Do they exist? Don't they not? Do they not? What is happening? Well, for me, it wasn't enough to say that there's no such thing as flu. That just sounds ridiculous to me. To say that there's no such thing as viruses. You can't say that to virologists who've been studying viruses for 25 years of their life, because they will look at you and go, you are an ex-estate agent. You're an ex-Thomson rep. Go away. You have no knowledge of these things. So I was thinking about my goal for this talk, and I've brought my glasses up. For those of you that didn't see me in the cancer talk, I couldn't read this little screen because I didn't have my glasses. It's amazing what I do for a living, isn't it? Anybody dealing with eyesight again? So I didn't even realize I did that. So I would like you to, an invitation just to be curious about viruses. Because people do become ill and they do die. And the media especially say that we do die from viruses. Because there's pandemics, epidemics, emics, they love that word. So perhaps we have to think about knowledge. What is knowledge? And isn't it interesting that only 700 years ago, we still thought that the earth was flat. We know now that it's round. What's really more curious and interesting for me is that this concept was fairly harmless. But concepts now, like viruses will kill you, they will spread from door handles. Janice sent me a little link that diseases, microbes on a door handle can kill you now. And when you walk into hospitals, and I visit hospitals on a regular basis, there's the wash your hands, you can kill people, don't touch people. So the earth being flat was not a very dangerous concept. What was really more interesting for me was that 2,000 years ago, this chap, please do not ask me to pronounce his name, knew that the earth was round. But it took Columbus and Magellan to show that, did I just say that the earth was, yeah. But it took Columbus and Magellan to show and to actually say to people and get the sailors who were so terrified to go on their boats because they thought if they went on a boat, the boat would fall off the end of the world. So they didn't want to go on the boats with Magellan and Columbus. They had to take prisoners and people that didn't want to go and push through that fear. And then there's the myth. So we've just had lunch, so let's all get up, because we've got a bit of that old pancreatic, that old fever.
Never know how much I love you. Never know how much
Come on, let's see these hips
when
moving.
When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning.
And isn't this interesting? Because I have glandular fever at the moment. Seemingly a kissing disease. Don't kiss me.
Moonlight.
Who have I been kissing?
I light up when you call my name, and you know I'm gonna treat you right.
So let's all sit down. Thanks, Chris. Now, what's really interesting about this, Pocahontas. At school, we were taught that Pocahontas actually saved John Smith's life. I believed that for years. And Walt Disney said it, so of course it must be true. But what is interesting, out of when Columbus and Magellan went to America, they actually wiped out about 90% of 50% of the tribes of Native American Indians due to smallpox, bubonic plague. Why would they? What would have happened? Was that because they stepped off the ship and they were so infectious because they were Spanish or Portuguese, and then they had British dirty people with them, and then they had the Dutch and the smelly people? Yes, Rob, you can hang your head in shame. Well, in MetaHealth, we're taught that viruses are from which brain relay? There's a clue, it's on the slide. The cortex. And they're the reconstruction crew. But why would viruses suddenly kill Native American Indians? And what's more interesting, that Native American Indians were actually better fed than the Europeans. They were eating good, wholemeal food. What was also the difference between the Native American Indians and the Europeans? Anybody? Nobody's an American Indian fan? No? They did not, well, what's the cortex about? Territory. The Indians don't own anything. They moved around, they were free. They didn't say, this land is mine. They shared their land in certain territories. Until the Europeans came and said, no, we are going to take your land, pushing them back, pushing them back. We're not going to allow you to kill your buffalo. We're going to kill your buffalo. What happened to these Indians' vitality? They were forced into different values, different ethics. They were told not to worship the sun, to worship God. They were told so many things, a bit like maybe what we get taught at school, to become domesticated. You, Penny, have to learn this, this, and this, or you will be a failure for the rest of your life. You, Penny, if you don't get a degree, you'll never make it in life, and therefore you'll become an old middle-aged therapist with a cat.